What would you find if you opened the door to your past? In this episode, I step inside this old workshop that is falling apart, and after years of decay I'll try to bring it back to life. Why? Because a few months ago, I set out to turn this wreck into something that might rival a Lamborghini on my own in a modest home garage. I followed my plan and built something wild from scrap. Custom body kit, odd wheels, bizarre headlights. But now forced to leave everything behind and move to a different country. Can I revive a forgotten garage to carry on with my project? Join me and let's find out. So, at this point you're probably wondering what's going on with the project, why is he over there? Well, the thing is, you can't tell this from my perfect English, but I'm not actually British, and because we're expecting our second baby, just to get a bit of help from our family, for the next couple of months we're gonna be, well, here. Now, in order for me to carry on with the project, I need a space where to work, and I do have my old workshop, but the problem is, well, let me show you. So I need to bring this space back, but how did it end up like this? After years of working outside, I decided I had enough. I wanted a place where I could open both doors and walk around the car properly. A little space to build, to experiment, to think. So I poured the foundation full of optimism, thinking this was the first step towards my very first garage. But then, everything stopped. To this day, it still bothers me how it happened. 10 years of dedication disappeared almost overnight. The job everyone said that I was doing so great was gone. I had no savings, just experience. Experience in a field so specific that within 500 miles, there was nowhere else to go. The roof was leaking so badly, water was getting everywhere and everything got molded, so I had to smash everything to bits and then take them out, and after 50 bags of rubbish, I'm almost at the point where I'm going to remove the tiles from the roof. I still need to clear a few more stuff over here, but besides that, today or tomorrow I'm going to see some results. Now I just need to put the car back on its wheels, push it out, and then start removing the tiles from the roof. And now that it's back on its wheels, you know what? This is such a cool car. I know it's not your GTR, but I'm starting to remember why I love this car so much. Can't wait to clean it and see how it turns out. So that wheel is stuck and I don't have enough strength to push it out. I'll have to go and pick up a new battery tomorrow, and then hopefully it's gonna start and drive it out. And in the meantime, I think I'm gonna start on the tiles, and hopefully I'm not gonna fall through the roof and land on the car. I know that these days everyone throws everything away, but I think we should recycle more, and plus I can't afford a new roof. So what I'm going to do, these ones, they're pretty much sound, they're a bit crooked. I'm gonna strengthen them a bit with a hammer, and then the old holes I'm just gonna plug them with some rivets like that, and this is going to make this watertight. This side of the roof, I have the wood up, and normally I wanted to do the entire roof in one go, but now I realized that I have a problem. The light feature that I have here in the middle, previously I installed it on wood, and to be honest, it's a miracle that the entire thing didn't catch on fire. So now I want to install it on metal, but the problem is I don't really know where it ends and I don't really know how to make the frame. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to install the roof panels on this side, see where it ends, and then I know exactly how to make the frame, weld that, put it up, and then carry on with the rest. At least that's the plan. When I started on the roof, I didn't really know what to expect. I hope that all the panels are going to be all right, but it's not the case. 10 of them, they're torn. So I need 10 new ones. I went to the same store as previously, got myself 10 new panels, and when I got home I realized they're not the same. So probably they changed the stamp in the meantime. I was a bit disappointed, but at the same time, now thinking about it, I'm a bit lucky because on this side I need 10 panels and I bought exactly 10 panels. So now I just need to remove these ones, move them on this other side where they're gonna match with the rest, and then this side is gonna be different, but it doesn't really matter since it's gonna have the light feature in the middle. I don't know how well you can hear me, but I was planning to film this on top of the roof, but the rain just started, and to be honest, it's such a massive relief to see that it's properly pouring outside and there is not a single drop of water inside. It's been a hard month, but I think it paid off. It is a bit annoying how slowly this goes, but this makes such a big difference. As soon as I put this up, I can feel how it blocks the heat from the roof, which is great. I don't want to cook everything inside. Life has a strange sense of timing. Years earlier, on a 12-hour night train back from a seminar by the sea, I ended up sitting next to someone who was traveling to buy a car from my city. We spoke about engines first, then about projects, and somewhere in that quiet night journey, I made a friend. Years passed, and one day he called to say that he was visiting. Over breakfast at my parents' house, I told him how I lost my job and the garage build stopped at the foundation, how I needed money for sandwich panels if I wanted to build something of my own. He listened. Then, he told me that in the meantime, he had become an environmental manager for a large company, and because they were expanding a warehouse, he had some panels to discard. And I could have them for free. The only problem was distance. They were 400 miles away and I had no money for transport. But speaking about this with a good friend, he reminded me that he works in logistics. He managed to track someone that was supposed to return empty from that exact location. And just like that, the panels were on their way home. It felt unlikely, but it worked. Suddenly, I had more than a foundation. I had the walls waiting to be raised. I borrowed money from my brother who was working in Italy at that time and stretched every pound as far as I possibly could. With no money for help, I worked alone, with a borrowed welder, piece by piece, bolt by bolt, one decision at a time. As I'm clearing the room, I'm starting to realize that this space, it's really bad. And the floor as well. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'm just gonna close the door and pretend that everything is nice. And now that the room is cleared, it's unbelievable how bad it is. The smell, I can't even say. I'm gonna smash the walls into small bits, load them into bags, and then take them to the skip. Today I don't have a car because I'm sharing with my wife, and because I still need some supplies, we're gonna do something different for today. This table, as you can see, it's in better days. So the other day I went and bought some paint, and now the plan is just to splash some crazy colors, and hopefully I'm gonna get something really nice because I haven't done this before and I don't really know how it's going to go. Now this is a far better result. And this is my side project. As you can see, it didn't turn out very good. But at the same time, when I poured the lacquer on top and I moved my hand just like that, it kind of made it unique. And at the end, I think this was the whole point of this, just to have something that is going to be neat. I can put stuff on it and it's not going to pick up dirt. And I've done exactly that. So now that this is dry, I can focus on the next thing, which is finally coming back to our project, and I'm gonna start on the steering wheel. And the last thing that I need to do is the gate, because yeah, this and plus you can't really see, but it is a bit flimsy. So I need to make this stronger and then make this window, and I'm pretty much done. The flooring here eventually dried out, so this morning I went and I bought a new plasterboard. To do the walls is going to be pretty straightforward. The ceiling, on the other hand, is going to be a bit more challenging because the boards are massive and it's just me working. However, I think I have a plan how to install them. Now my question is if I should go for plasterboard in the first place, or if I should install something else that has a more modern look and it's a bit more easier to install. This was not as straightforward as I hoped for, because I ended up removing the side door, the front door, the window, pretty much everything to realign. But now that I've done that, this looks really, really good, and I can focus on the next stage, which is the ceiling. I really thought about this, and instead of using plasterboards, I went and bought this stuff. I know that there are special products for this, but they do cost a bit more, and I really am on a budget here. And the reason why I chose this is because if I do need to do any kind of work later on, like install an aircon or some lights or whatever, I just remove a few panels, do my work, put them back, and it makes everything a lot more practical. What I learned from cutting styrofoam for the past few hours is that I used to cut like this. It works, but the best way to do it, you need a sharp blade and then keep it on an angle like this. Go once and then just return. And look at that. What a nice clean cut. When I first entered this room, I really hoped that it's going to be alright, but you've seen how bad it was. At that stage, I said that I'm going to stop when I'm going to have the new plasterboard in. But I've done that, and I've done the ceiling, and it turned out so great that I don't really want to stop. So I hope that you're feeling the same as I do, and you want to see me carry on, because I am going to do exactly that. It's strange how what feels like failure can quietly become a new path. Because I lost my job, I finally started the engineering university I had always wanted but couldn't attend because of my work. I built this garage and I started my customizing business. But then I met an amazing woman, and after a few months of dating, because she got transferred with her job, we decided to move in together, in a different country. I closed the shop, she became my wife. Life continued in Oxford. The garage stayed behind. Storms tore the roof over the years. During COVID, my parents returned to gardening, filling the space with tools and became storage because there was nothing else available. It wasn't dramatic, it was gradual. Not broken, just forgotten. My name is Camil, thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.